Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing great. Thanks for tuning in. Chris Grier addressing the media today, his pre-draft availability. A lot of drama thrown out there. Talked about the Jalen Ramsey stuff and the Tyreek Hill one in another video. You guys can check that on out. But also, wanted to get into some of the job status things that he had, because I do think it's fascinating, where this guy is at right now, which to me is sitting here, and I'm just I think we're all just baffled that the guy still has a job. I think we're baffled that he is able to keep himself out of harm's way when it comes to job security for as long as he has. Running the draft since 2016, basically has had a job in the organization since 2000, has moved his way up, but now there's no doubt, he's been the top guy. And does anybody believe this guy can get through anything, right? Because he's been through head coaching changes, and basically was with a power struggle with him and Brian Flores. And back in the day, Brian Flores was the jerk. Brian Flores and him couldn't collaborate, couldn't make things happen. But then today, this guy, he was answering a question, right? And I was sitting here, and I'm just like, you gotta. I read the quote at first. I read it online, and I'm like, I can't believe what I'm reading from this guy. I can, because it's Chris Grier, but I also can't, because it's how do you say the things out loud that you say? And this guy was talking about his draft philosophy, and basically was saying, maybe I have deferred too much in the past. And I got to tell you something, dude, as a fan of this team, my God, am I sick of this. I am so sick of the scapegoating and the backstabbing and the sniveling that goes on with these draft processes. And every year that somebody happens, if I didn't have a pick, that was that guy's pick. No, this guy was that guy's pick. And it goes both ways. He's not the only guy. This happened all the time. This happened back when Jeff Ireland was the GM, when Adam Gase was the coach, when Joe Philbin and Ireland were infighting and all that type of stuff. But it's been particularly bad because Chris Grier, his default always is I was just doing what the coach wanted. There's no cajones on it, dude. There's no onions. There's no stones on any of the picks, right? And I was like, he's talking about how I feel like I defer too much. I defer too much. And it's what is your philosophy other than signing splashy injured players? Does anybody really know what Chris Grier's philosophy is on anything? Right? Obviously the most fun he's had as a football executives was the F them picks era, which is over now, because he did say F them picks, and now we're at the point where none of those guys are going to be big time contributors on the team. Maybe Bradley Chubb has a resurgence this year, but it's really one of those things when it comes down to the nitty gritty of evaluating. It's not like Chris Grier's never made a good pick. He's picked good players. He's picked Christian Wilkins. He's picked Xavier Howard. He's picked, he's picked Minka Fitzpatrick, who didn't want to be here. He picked Javon Holland. He's picked good players before. I'm not trying to say the guy is 0 for a zillion. Now, his managing of those players and when you should pay them, and the guys, the ins, the outs, the outside players to the inside players, and the guys you develop and keeping them around and having that confidence on who to keep around and who you keep giving chances to. And, I don't mean to bring up my favorite player in the world, but you bring up somebody like Liam Eichenberg, right? This guy continues to get chance after chance after chance because he was your high draft pick, and still is then brought back after his contract is up. You see somebody like Cam Smith, right, where, today he's talking about, we can't hold his hand anymore. It's yeah, but can you even trust him? Do the coaches trust him to start? This was your pick, and you're making it out here oh, no. I think what I've learned is I defer too much. And I was like, man, when I heard that quote from him today, that I defer too much, that's what I've learned is I defer too much. I was like, you know what, dude? That is exactly why this guy has stuck around as long as he has. Because you have certain guys sometimes when they're running an organization or they have decision-making powers and they like to make themselves collaborators or guys who don't rock the boat. And what that always allows you to do is it always allows you to pass the buck. It always allows you to kick the can. It always allows you to put it on somebody else, to scapegoat somebody else. We've been doing this nonstop when it came to the whole Tua thing, right? Like when it came to Tua, and you guys know I'm a Tua. You watch the channel, you know I'm a Tua guy. I was cool with paying Tua, even though, man, I am looking stupid. And I acknowledge that my opinion of having to take care of the guy, even though it put an ease on him, man, they would have been in at least a much more tolerable spot if they would have just played it out. And you probably could have seen all the writing on the wall. But the thing that's like, you keep going back to Tua, right? Like we go back to the Brian Flores, the bullying, and he was mean to Tua and he never wanted Tua. And this is the thing that I just can't get through. It's like, well, nobody wants to take responsibility for Tua being drafted. Like nobody, because it's like, which one is it? Is it the coach was the picker of the players and you're appeasing the coach, or is that the guy you wanted? So nobody wants to take responsibility for the guy who gets paid the most on the team. Nobody wants to raise their hand on it. Nobody wants to take accountability for it. And that just keeps going. It goes from Noah Igbenogany. It goes from that whole monster drafts that they had for all these picks that they had. And you want to put it under the guise of, oh, no. Well, I was just making the coach happy. With Mike McDaniel, it's a little bit harder because Mike McDaniel really hasn't had a lot of first-round picks. So when he says things like, well, I've learned that I'm not going to defer as much, my initial reaction to that is, he's taking shots at Flores, which we know that they weren't very fond of each other at the end. But I just find it to be like so weaselly to be like that this many years past it, where you're like, oh, no, man. I know that, the buck stops with me, but perhaps I defer a little too much to the coaches and their needs and what they want and all that stuff. And then to me, like if I'm Mike McDaniel and I hear that, I'm just like, oh, okay. So I get, like, we know how this is going to go, right? Just so we're clear, we know how this is going to go, right? The Dolphins this year, do not be surprised if, again, Mike McDaniel, this is just mark this day, Mike. Mark this day. And I know that he said that he likes working with you and this has been collaborative and he's enjoyed this experience now when you all have a job going into this year. But trust me when I tell you, that planted the seed already for, so when it comes down to Stephen Ross and not passing the buck and who's to blame for this, hey, man, he wanted all these light, fast linemen. He wanted these guys to run fast. He wanted to do razzle-dazzle, Steve. I'm a trenches guy. You know that. And he's like, well, who do you think we should get next time, Chris? He goes, next man Campbell or next defensive. Like, when you are able to survive coach after coach after coach, like what else is anybody supposed to think? The guy is just able to continue to keep his gig. And so like I hear that today and I'm like, come on, dude. Like, can you take you're sitting here and you're saying we can't hold the hand of a guy who was your highest draft pick 2 years ago, and like the big connection everybody made is like, hey, your family was teammates with the guy. And now you're like, oh, I deferred too much. It's like, I just, to me, I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. This is crazy that this guy that anybody would have any faith that this guy is going to get it done. And he said today, this is another one that was a doozy, that Mike and I want to win more than anyone just to get people off our backs.
Listen, Mike and I want to win probably more than you guys in here, just to get you guys off our backs, But at the end of the day, like I said, it's the NFL. Like, to me, the crazy thing is when you hear some of the really good head coaches in this league that have won all the time and people are calling for them to get fired after a season, like, it's just the nature of the beast. The NFL is, one of the most popular leagues in the world, and you understand that. And so at the end of the day, you have to just work and try to drown out the noise.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, dude. This is the problem that I got with this. Like, the one thing I'll say about Mike McDaniel is that he rambles, he talks too much, but I can at least see, like, Mike McDaniel faces the music every single week. He talks to the media 4 days a week, talk to the media a bunch during mini camps. And I can tell during losses, man, Mike McDaniel's wearing that. He's taking accountability and he's feeling it the most. I really have rarely heard Mike McDaniel skate around or have an arrogance about things. Like, he'll explain things in his own little weird way. But I never feel like Mike McDaniel has this unbelievable arrogance about him. I think he's set in his ways and he's going to win by his philosophy. But sometimes when I hear Chris Grier speak, there's just like there's almost such a mockery to the way that he holds things in talking to the fans, the media, thinking like just like, oh, you guys think that you know more than me? And he goes like, yeah, we want people to win because we want you guys off our back because how dare you be on our backs? And I always just like kind of scoff at that. I'm like, yeah, but dude, don't you first of all, that's the job. Is you're going to have, when the results aren't good, you're going to get criticized. And then I think the thing that's funny about it is like his response is like, oh yeah, like, well, I laughed about the O-line, but now we're going to fix it. And it's like, yeah, but do you know how? Like, do we really feel like you have the answers for it? Do you feel like you have any methods or means to get it done? And the same things goes when he's like talking about you guys know the draft picks. Like, we could always say a draft pick that I blew in the third round 3 years ago didn't work out, and why did you pick that guy? And instead of just being like, oh, this is why we went with that situation, or this is why I had that philosophy, or what. Nah, it's always just kind of a blow off of like, easy to call me an idiot. It's like, well, yeah, I guess it is, because you've done a lot of dumb things running the football team. And right now it seems like the cupboard is bare. There's not a lot of great ways to get out of this. And to be fair, like the one thing I will say about Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel about where they're at right now on their evaluation of this team is the truth is they're not closer or any closer with the moves that they made to winning the division. And I guess the only positive you could say for those guys is at least they're realizing that the window of whatever they did is closed. They could still possibly fortify this and win with Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterback. I still believe that there's a means and a method to do it. But it doesn't happen until they actually fix the offensive line and they can actually have a balanced offense and dictate games and smack people in the mouth, and then on top of it add the blazing speed to make everybody crap in their pants. I think that possibility is still in there, but I do think there's a refortifying that they have to go through. It's just a matter of, do I feel like they have the evaluation ability to do it? No, I don't. I don't think that they do, because one of the things that's going to be spotty with it is even if they get this year reset, when they do get into position to make big moves, he's probably going to make a big move that is for some guy who misses a quarter of his games, and then the next time that we get down the road, you're going to be like, oh, what happened? That guy got hurt in December again. Oh, shocking. And I'm not even referring to the QB. I'm saying make it X defensive lineman or linebacker or whoever they bring in, running back, whoever it is, and they'll just ignore it because they'll be like, oh, come on, it's fun, baby. And from my perspective, to have it be like, oh, what have I learned about the draft? I defer too much to the coaches. I just was trying to get along. It's like, oh, great. Okay, so you're not the boss. You don't take it. It's just, it shows such a lack of accountability by this guy. And even when he gets got, even when it's like so obvious, like the offensive line comment bit him in the ass embarrassingly, still just like rolling in the punches. It's just like, oh, just want to get the media off my back. Like, no, okay, so you don't want to win to win. You don't want to win to get out of this mess that you made. You don't want to win because you're competitive at this. You just want to do it to get people off your back because that's the way you've always done this job. There's heat on everybody. How do I get the heat off of my back and put it on the coach? How can I get it off of my back and put it on a star player with an ego? That's basically how you've been running the team the entire time you've been in charge of running the team. How can I put it on somebody else? How can I get people to stop talking about me so I can be a chameleon, blend in, and get my job extended for another 5 years? And just mire in a lazy river of mediocrity. Because that's what it is. It's like you throw your feet back on the inner tube, You drink down a pina colada, and you're just like, the next guy who's going to get it's Mike McDaniel. Be warned, Mike. It's coming, dude. Trust me. When we're sitting here in a year, this guy's going to be looking to see, like, how can we put it on the little weirdo with the glasses with his freaky little offense? He's already plotting it. Dude.